Hey everyone, this is Darren Bousman. We're now going to be looking at The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, Dario Argento's first directed film. It's a nasty little murder mystery with a lot of twists along the way, so let's take a look. An American writer in Rome witnesses a murder. The murderer then takes it upon himself to stalk him through the remainder of the movie. Dario Argento's first directed feature film, and it's got all the staples of what you come to love in a Dario Argento movie. One of the things I'm going to start off by, I read a story about this, which I thought was just fascinating. As Dario had spent a couple of days on set, and he had his first couple of days of dailies, and he screened them for all the producers. And one of the producers just hated it, just did not like any of the footage, and wanted Dario off the project. Luckily for him, his father, Salvatore, was one of the producers on the film, and as he walked outside after hearing that his son was going to be fired, he saw visibly shaken the secretary. The secretary was nervous and antsy, and he said, "What's wrong with you?" And the secretary said, "I just saw the footage, and I'm shaken. I'm terrified. I don't want to go walking alone outside." And his father convinced the secretary to please walk back in and tell her boss exactly what she said. And so she walked back in and told her, at that point, executive, what she thought of the footage, and luckily for the rest of the horror community, Dario was allowed to stay on the movie, and now we have a horror legend, and I think that's a pretty cool story. The movie actually has, I was surprised how many twists and turns it had along the way. The first time I saw it, I kept thinking I knew who the killer was, and I kept guessing throughout it, and at the very end I was proven completely wrong. A fascinating score, and like Dario Argento's all of his films, including Suspiria, it's one of those scores that it's almost childlike, and it's got this la la la, this girl singing la la, and it's absolutely terrifying and adds to the tension. There's a great sequence in this movie by the lead actor, Tony Musante, who's trying to track down the killer, and ends up in this small village outside of Rome. And there's this really bizarre scene where he's talking to an artist and a cat gets loose. And there's an entire 3 or 4 minute section paid to tracking down this cat, capturing the cat, and putting it back in a cage. And it's just this bizarre thing that we find out later why is that the artist is taking these cats and bulking them up, getting them fat, and feeding them, and actually feeds one to our lead actor. That shot you just saw right there with the camera falling, interesting enough, they actually broke a real camera. He wanted that to be a realistic fall, and they actually dropped the camera out the window. They destroyed the camera, but the shot remains. If you're a fan of Dario Argento or a fan of just trying to guess who the killer is, I highly recommend taking a look at this nasty little film from Dario Argento.